Corpo Celeste is a story about a girl named Marta who is dealing with growing up through what she observes and experiences as her and her mother and her sister have moved back to their native Italy. Marta also goes to a catechism class where she sees contradictions at times with what she learns versus the way some people act. Add on the fact that the pastor of the church is supporting a morally ambiguous political candidate and is also looking to move away from the parish which adores him for a better parish and a more financially stable parish, leaving the people to question whether their work for the church was enough for this pastor and what the future holds for their parish. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the texture of the film. It had a grainy feel and dated look to it. Now, I don't know if that's because of the film reel that was given to the movie theater that I was at, or if that was the camera style the director wanted to use. To me, I didn't feel that it was appealing for the film because of the fact that it made it seem dated, as though it was filmed back in the 60s and 70s, and especially with the subject matter and some of the things talked about in the film itself, it seemed as though this is something that is a dated subject to talk about as well, and kind of detracted from trying to reach out to a wider audience. Another issue I had with the film was the scenes that were blurry and very dark. At times it was very hard to tell what's going on, and it actually, again, detracted from the film. Especially if you're not an Italian speaker, it's very hard to keep track of the subtitles and read them while at the same time trying to see what's going on in the scene or know what's going on in the scene and how that applies to the conversation or dialogue that is being presented to you in the film. If they had a little bit better lighting, it would have helped just at least a little bit. There were times I didn't know what was going on and didn't know what point it had in the story. Now, I will admit, due to some of the distractions in the film, I may have missed any explanation, but there was no real solid explanation as to where was Marta's dad. It seemed like the family was content the way they were and that she really didn't have a dad. Throughout the film, though, you'll feel that Marta needed some supervision because at times she would wander off on her own, unsupervised, to places that she probably shouldn't even be going. A lot of times she disappears, and a lot of the adults are not happy with her, but yet no one takes the extra effort to supervise her or keep an eye on her. A little bit of an explanation as to why she doesn't have a father figure in her life would have been helpful, especially in this film where it's more of a coming of age story and she actually doesn't have a father figure throughout any part of the film. Nobody steps up to be the father figure and the film just flows as though there is no father figure at all. Now, another issue I want to bring up is the fact that there are two competing stories. Now, on top of Marta's story of coming of age and growing up and observing everything around her, there is another story that pops up. At times, it seems to take precedence over Marta's story. Now, this competing story is a story of the parishioners, especially the head of the catechism class, feeling a little bit left out because their pastor is busy trying to get a lot of other dealings outside of the parish done, while at the same time rumors of the pastor talking to the bishop of having him moved and transferred to another church that's possibly larger, has a larger staff, and has more influential and more higher income parishioners as opposed to the poorer church that he's at right now. Now, a lot of the parishioners have worked hard for this church and now they feel as though they're being betrayed. As that story progresses, it seems to lead to nowhere in the end because it still goes back to Marta's story, which I feel if they wanted to bring something like this up, they should have done it in a more subtle manner as opposed to putting it at the forefront at times. It seemed as though it was more filler to take up some of the space so that the focus wasn't always on Marta's personal experience, which I feel was not helpful to the film. And we finally get to the ending. The ending. wow. I can understand if you want to leave open-ended endings or even artistically open-ended endings, but in this film, the ending was left not only open, but was also very confusing. Now, I can assume, based on what I saw in the film and whatever my understanding is, what the ending meant, but that's only just an assumption. Now, I'm going to give you a spoiler alert right now, because I will tell you what the ending generally had. Marta is getting ready for confirmation, as is highlighted throughout the film. What ends up happening is she doesn't go to her confirmation, even though her family is there for her and everyone's getting ready and everyone's happy, and she's nowhere to be found. She just goes off somewhere, and there's no explanation why she did that and why she chose the particular place she went to. Now, I can assume that after experiencing a lot of things that she saw as the film progressed and what she learned, that she did not want to be an adult, or wasn't ready to be an adult yet and wanted to stay as a kid. But that is my assumption. Where she went and why she chose that place still leaves you the question, why? Why did she go there out of all the places? If my assumption is correct that she left because she felt that she wasn't ready to be an adult yet, why did she go to the place that she went to? She actually had to wade through water and everything just to get there. And it's very confusing and ended the film on an empty note. Not that it was building too much filler in there. There was just an empty feeling and left you with, okay, that's what I saw. Now, a lot of people may like this film. Unfortunately, I didn't. This was my first Italian film I've seen in my 3 years going to the film festival, and it wasn't a good start for Italian films. I have seen Italian films before, and they were a lot better than this one. So for the first film that I'm reviewing here for the Chicago International Film Festival 2011, I give this one a D+. There's a lot of things that were not done well and strong enough in the film, and it left a lot to be needed to improve the film and the quality overall. Other than that, here we go. We kicked off the Chicago International Film Festival films of 2011 that I saw, that I'm going to review, and we started off at the bottom of the list, and we have Corpo Celeste. Till next time, class dismissed.